Thanks for joining us for episode 6 spoiler discussion of The Last of Us Season 2. We're just going to hop right into it because this was a packed episode and an emotional episode at that. I also want to say I am running my dishwasher in the kitchen right over there, so if you kind of hear that in the background, I do apologize. But we are going to move right forward into scene 1 where it starts off with Joel's childhood, and it actually gives you a glimpse on who and how Joel is as an individual and how he's become the person he is. And it basically takes you back to, him and his brother have gotten into a little bit of trouble, and Joel is comforting Tommy at the beginning of the episode because Tommy thinks he's going to get in trouble, he's going to get the belt, and Joel assures him, no, you're not. I'm going to get it. Go upstairs and be quiet. And next thing you know, Joel's father walks in, he's a police officer, and automatically there's this tension between Joel and his father, and he tells him, you're not going to hurt him. Like, I'm not going to let you. His father just kind of looks at him, opens the fridge, grabs 2 beers out, hands one to Joel, one for himself, cracks them both open, and tells the story of how his father clocked him, when he was a kid, when he was 10 years old, for stealing a candy bar, broke his jaw. And it was wired shut and for weeks, And he basically told Joel, one day when you have this opportunity, I hope you do a better job than me, because I'm doing a little bit better job than he did. So it kind of gives you perspective on Joel as a character, and I thought it was a great opening scene and a great little addition they made to the TV series compared to the game. Then we fast forward to Ellie's 14th birthday, and Joel meets up with Seth, and he's basically trading over some goods to get some kind of animal bone, I believe, and a birthday cake for Ellie. But he needs the animal bone because he's actually hand-making a guitar for Ellie. And he actually takes a Dremel and carves out the little moth that's on Ellie's wall, makes her a birthday cake. Seth, unfortunately, misspells her name, calls her Eli, but nevertheless, kind of gives you a little insight into Joel preparing for Ellie's 14th birthday. Next thing you know, he gets home later. Tommy rushes in with Ellie, and she's completely burnt her arm, and she's on painkillers, completely out of it, and Joel's like, what the hell happened? Tommy explains to her that Ellie basically burnt herself, and Ellie's doing this because she wants to cover up the scar from her bite. And yeah, so she wants to wear short sleeves again, and her and Joel kind of have this moment, and he basically understands after he calms down a little bit. And then it fast forward to her 16th birthday, and this is one of my favorite moments from the game. I've been waiting for this moment in the show, and I'm so glad they included it, because it is the happiest moment of Season 2. The entire season, this is the happiest you'll ever see Joel and Ellie of their entire life, basically. And I thought they did a beautiful job with the museum, the Dinosaur and Space Museum. Joel takes Ellie there. She's climbing on the dinosaur. She's just amazed, looking around. I saw the little solar system, too. They actually handmade that replica from the game, like designed the whole thing, just the attention to detail put into this scene. Not to mention when they get into the space shuttle, the lighting, they had to rig up this lighting system and rotate it at a certain sequence to get it to pan over Ellie's face, just like the video game, and it was just beautifully executed, and really just an amazing, heartfelt moment between Joel and Ellie, giving her that experience for her birthday, just making her greatest wish come true, and you really just see the love and the care between these two characters, and it's just sad to see where it eventually goes. And this episode is such a journey of highs and lows. I have a feeling it's because of what's happening in the next episode. Anyways, this is a very emotional moment, and they absolutely nailed it, and I was really impressed with their ability to pull off this scene. With the space shuttle, the helmets, the tape, like I said, the lighting, the dialogue, the cinematography. It was all done perfectly. Well done. Well done. Then we fast forward to Ellie's 17th birthday, and this is where things start to kind of take a little turn. Joel, once again, gets a cake for Ellie, and he's going upstairs to surprise her, and kind of hears some rustling around going on in the bedroom, hears two girls like laughing and this and that, and he opens up the door, and Ellie's hooking up with another girl, and he's just like, what the hell? And they got a joint going. She's like, I thought you were supposed to be on patrol. And he's like, I came home early to give you this cake to celebrate your birthday. And then there's like a freaking tattoo gun out. I mean, it's just a scene in there. And basically the girl leaves, and he's just like, really? All the teenage bullshit all at once? Like drugs, tattoos, sex, experiment. She's like, it's not an experiment. But, she's not his daughter, and he's not her father in a sense. And you kind of see those lines and those boundaries get crossed in this moment. And Joel even takes a step back, and I think you kind of see him realize that as well. But yeah, some interesting dialogue there between Joel and Ellie. And yeah, this is where tensions start to build, I believe. Then he kind of takes a moment to look at her tattoo, and he's like, doesn't look too bad, actually. So they kind of end on that note. And anyways, yeah. Next, actually, it doesn't end there, too. They go to sleep, and then in the middle of the night, he just hears all this ruckus going on, this and that, and he goes out there, and Ellie's starting to move all her bed out of her room and everything. She's like, I'm moving into the basement. He's like, it's not even livable down there. It's the middle of the night. It's pouring rain. You can't do this right now. He's like, I understand. You need your own space. Just give me a few days, and I'll fix it up for you. So he is trying. You got to give him a little credit. Joel is trying. Now, this is where the episode starts to take a little more intense, dramatic turn, Ellie, it starts off with Ellie in her bedroom, and she's all dressed, ready to go on patrol with Joel. This is her 19th birthday, and she's basically going over some questions she's written down that she wants to ask Joel about Salt Lake City. You can tell she's nervous. She's trying to be respectful. She's trying to go about this the right way and just figure out what's going on and what's the truth. She's kind of having a moment with herself, and all of a sudden Joel comes in, and he's like, hey, you already up? She's like, oh, yeah, I'm ready to go. He's like, okay, let's get going. And they go on patrol, and they're kind of trekking through the woods, watching each other's backs. All of a sudden, Joel gets a radio call from Eugene saying they need backup. They've kind of been overwhelmed by some infected to make their way over. So Joel and Ellie start to head over there. He tries to send Ellie back to Jackson. She's like, dude, you're not my dad. I'm your partner. I'm going with you. So they take off. They eventually find Eugene, and they're like, are you clean? Did anything happen, this and that? And he shows them his bite mark. He has been bitten on the side of by his rib cage, basically. And he's pleading with Joel, just like, I got like an hour left, and the last thing I want to do is just see my wife. I have things I want to say to her. I want to see her face. It's the last thing. Please get me back to Jackson. We have time. Let me say goodbye. And Joel's like, absolutely not. And Ellie's pleading with Joel. She even makes Eugene like hold out his hand and count to 10, see if he can hold it steady. And she's like, he's got time. Let him see his wife, Joel. So he's just kind of like, all right, I'll take him there. You go ahead and head with the horses, and I'll start walking with him. So Joel and Eugene start walking, and you can tell Eugene is just like out of it and disoriented, doesn't know the direction he's going, doesn't know how to get back, and basically asks Joel, which direction he needs to go, and he's like, take a right. And I knew from this point, like, he wasn't going to make it back to Jackson. He's taking him to a dead end where he can shoot him, and it opens up, and it's just this beautiful lake. And Eugene's just like, wow, it's beautiful. And then all of a sudden it clicks to him. He's like, he's not taking me back to Jackson. He's about to shoot me. And they kind of have this moment where, Joel says, like, if you love someone, you don't have to see them to see their face. And it ends with Eugene just looking up, and he's like, I can see her. And then Joel shoots him. And then Ellie comes up, sees Joel standing over his dead body, and she's just devastated and heartbroken. They start making their way back to Jackson. They bring the body back of Eugene, and they have to talk to Gail. And Gail comes up, and she's talking to Joel, what happened, this and that. And Joel basically lies to her and says that, he was very brave, he didn't want to put you at danger, and took his own life. And Ellie's just like, he's lying. That's not what happened. He pleaded to come back and see you. That's all he wanted to do was see you. And Joel lied to him and myself and then shot him in the head. And you can tell this was a moment that she was taking anger and revenge out on Joel for lying to her, because the face he gave Ellie when he says, I promise, was the same face he gave to her when he promised about the hospital in Salt Lake City. And she knew that he was lying about that too. And this was the boiling point between Joel and Ellie. And it was brutal to watch. And Gail's just devastated as well, and Tommy's just holding her. Then we fast forward, I believe, 9 months, and this brings us up to speed with the dance that Ellie and Dina were dancing at, and Seth came in, said, this is inappropriate, y'all dancing on the dance floor, it's a family event, and Joel barges in, get away from her, and then Ellie says, I don't need your protection. And then in I think it was the first episode, we might have saw that. And then it shows Joel sitting on the porch with the guitar afterwards, and Ellie just walking by, and that's all we had from that scene originally. But everyone knows that porch scene, and they gave it to us at the end of this episode. And she walks back up on the porch, and it is just the most tragic conversation between her and Joel, because she asks him the truth about Salt Lake, and Joel knows he can't lie anymore, and just tells her the truth. And Ellie says, basically, I don't know if I can forgive you for this. And man, the emotion that Pedro and Bella displayed in this scene is just incredible. I think those were real tears. They really felt like it. I heard the entire crew was crying. It tore me apart. And on top of that, this is the last conversation that we ever have, that we'll ever have with Joel and Ellie, and it's heartbreaking that it ended like this. And he basically tells her in the end, too, if he had to do it all over again, he would do the same thing. She's like, you're selfish. And he's like, it's because I love you. So, man, it's just one of those things. It just tore me apart. This was a very emotional episode. And it ends with Ellie returning to the theater. Whoo! And I don't think a lot of people are going to like how the beginning of this next episode begins, which will be the last episode of this season. I think it's going to be a huge cliffhanger. Actually, I think I know where they're going to end it, now that I think about it. They're going to draw things out, and they're going to show you what's about to happen in the theater for the cliffhanger at the very end. That's where they're going to end the episode next week, I believe. But either way, comment down below what you thought of this episode. I thought it was one of the best of the season. Not a dry eye in the room for this one. It was sad. It was tragic. It was emotional. Tugged on my heartstrings. We got one left. Thank you for anyone that's been coming along and tagging along with this series as I've been reviewing it. We will be getting back to my regular scheduled programming here shortly. But as for now, take care, my friends. Stay blessed.